access CCTV footage that nails the accused. Police nab another PFI leader. Probe widens in Kerala RSS worker murder case. Cops recover pieces of dismantled car. BJP levels grave charges at CPM government. Says state turning into Syria.
ജനങ്ങളെ ഭിന്നിപ്പിക്കുന്ന ജനങ്ങളെ തമ്മിലടിപ്പിക്കുന്ന അതിവേഗം സിറിയയിലേക്ക് നടന്നെടുക്കാനുള്ള പ്ലാനാണ് നടക്കുന്നത്.
Killing fields of Kerala is our top focus on India First.
Kerala is fast becoming like Syria, says the Bharatiya Janata Party, after police arrested a second activist of the controversial Islamist organization, the Popular Front of India. With the left accusing the BJP of tarnishing the image of God's own country, Kerala, over political killings being portrayed as radical Islamist terror. Union Minister of State for Entrepreneurship, Skill Development, Electronics and Technology, Rajeev Chandrasekhar, incidentally from Kerala, joins me on India First on RSS and BJP workers being targeted in the state and the radical Islamist terror charge. I'm Gaurav Sawant. As always, let's get started with the headlines on India First. Aam Aadmi Party to join hands with Samajwadi Party for the upcoming Uttar Pradesh elections. Sanjay Singh meets Akhilesh and Mulayam Singh Yadav, says both parties are heading towards a tie-up. Mamta Banerjee meets Prime Minister Narendra Modi in Delhi, opposes extension of BSF jurisdiction. Bengal Chief Minister says increasing powers of the BSF will adversely affect law and order in the state. Cabinet approves proposal to repeal the farm laws. New bill to be introduced during the winter session. Protesting farmers now demand a legislation on MSP. Jayalalitha's niece and nephew to get her residence in Tamil Nadu. Madras High Court sets aside the AIA-DMK government's order converting Jayalalitha's residence into a memorial. Centre considers crypto bill during winter session. It seeks to ban private cryptocurrencies and will pave the way for RBI's digital currency. A second activist of the controversial Islamic organization, the Popular Front of India, has now been arrested in connection with the murder of a Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh activist, 27-year-old Sanjith. CCTV images are important clues in piecing together details of the crime, according to Kerala police. Investigations indicate that the killers who hacked the RSS worker to death not only disposed of the sharp-edged weapons, but also sold off the car to have it dismantled to destroy evidence. The BJP has alleged that the ruling CPIM in the state is covering up radical Islamist terror footprints. Rixon Uman Varghese gets us more.
Hacked to death in front of his wife. A murder that has caused outrage in Kerala and set off a political war. A second PFI leader was arrested on Wednesday for his alleged involvement in RSS worker Sanjith's murder. Police said they have recovered parts of a car allegedly used by the killers and then dismantled. CCTV footage identified the white Maruti 800, which was used by the killers for the crime. 27-year-old Sanjith was murdered in broad daylight on November 15th. According to police, the killers later sold the car to a workshop for 15,000 rupees.
நம்ம பணிக்காரர்கிட்ட ஆள் பழக்கம் இருக்குது அதுக்கும் அவருக்கு ரொம்ப கிடையாது ஆர்சி புக்கெல்லாம் வாங்கி பார்த்தாச்சு, பார்த்துட்டு எல்லாம் இருக்குன்னு தெரிஞ்சுட்டு அப்புறம் பின்ன நம்பர் பிளேட்டு ஆர்சி புக்கு அப்படியே ஐயாலும் வாங்கிட்டு போயாச்சு.
The police has arrested 2 PFI activists so far. One of them, an office bearer of the radical organization. Their identities have not been revealed so far by the police as investigations are on. The BJP has blamed the Pinarayi government of sheltering the PFI, claiming the CPIM was in league with the outfit.
ജനങ്ങളെ ഭിന്നിപ്പിക്കുന്ന, ജനങ്ങളെ തമ്മിലടിപ്പിക്കുന്ന, അതിവേഗം സിറിയയിലേക്ക് നടന്നെടുക്കാനുള്ള പ്ലാനാണ് നടക്കുന്നത്. അതിനെതിരായിട്ടുള്ള നിലപാടാണ് ഞങ്ങൾ സ്വീകരിച്ചിട്ടുള്ളത്.
The BJP left politics apart. The PFI has been under the scanner across the country, with many states calling for a ban on the Islamist organization. With Rixan Umman Varghese from Thiruvananthapuram, Bureau Report, India Today.
I want to quickly cut across to India Today's Rixan Umman, who joins us from Thiruvananthapuram for more on the story. Rixan, you've been speaking to the police in Kerala. What more can you tell us? Because some argue this is a political murder. Some insist that this is radical Islamist terror taking on BJP and RSS cadre in the state. But what do police investigations reveal on the basis of evidence so far?
Yeah, well, the investigation into the murder of RSS activist Sanjith has progressed further with the investigation team arresting one more office bearer of Popular Front of India who is having a direct involvement in the case. And according to our sources, a possible third arrest will be registered tomorrow. And the police has traced the vehicle, Maruti 800, where the culprits travelled in. And also the parts of this vehicle has also found from a workshop in Palakkad in Tamil Nadu. And we are hoping that the police will conduct an identification parade in the coming days too. And the police has not yet revealed the identity details of the culprits because it will affect the course of investigation and also the identification parade.
Rixan, keep tracking that story. I will come back to you for more. I now want to cut across to Union Minister of State for Entrepreneurship, Skill Development, Electronics and Technology, Rajeev Chandrasekhar, joining me here on India First. Rajeev Chandrasekhar, the CPM says your party is maligning the state, God's own country. Sir, where is the evidence they ask to suggest Kerala is turning into Syria?
Look, Gaurav, I think this is an old strategy of the CPM. Whenever there is a set of difficult questions that are posed to them about their record in law and order and safety and prosecuting crimes, they try and make this about the state, and they try and make this about something that it is not. This is a legitimate issue that is being asked of an elected government of Kerala, which is that there are these brazen killings that are clearly being directed by organizations with radical elements directing them or involved in them. And what is being asked of them is that this is a clear and present danger to the people of Kerala, to whole of South India and indeed India, and therefore it is incumbent radical elements, isolate them, prosecute them, and ensure this kind of radical elements don't have the safe haven in Kerala that people perceive them to have. And I think this is a very, very reasonable, legitimate expectation of any elected government of any state in the Union of India.
Okay, sir, that's a grave charge. You're saying there's clear and present danger, not just to people of Kerala or the region, but across the country. But sir, if the Popular Front of India is a radical organization, that's the organization you're referring to, and that they're accused of creating disharmony and bloodshed in Kerala, why is the central government not taking action against an organization that stands accused of radicalization and terror?
No, look, I think, Gaurav, I think the last time we checked, the Constitution lays squarely the responsibility of law and order, investigating crimes, protecting safety to every citizen of the state on the doorstep of the duly elected state government. And it is not for the government of India to keep intervening in every crime that is committed in Kerala or indeed in any state. It is for the Home Minister of that state, it is for the policing establishment of that state to create a semblance or dispel the perception that the state is creating a safe haven for some of these radical elements, and it is for them to do their job. It cannot be anybody's case that just because the state government is not doing their job, that every time we ask a set of questions, they start flinging this back at us, saying that you are maligning the state, you are doing this and you are doing that. There are the people that are being brutally killed on the streets of Trichur and on the streets of Palakkad. Are their families not being, don't they deserve justice? Isn't it the responsibility of the state government to send a message to those who are doing these killings that Kerala will no longer tolerate this kind of killing? And instead of making it into something it is not, about I am from Kerala, and I have I am as Keralite as anybody else, and I have great respect for my state. I have great concern that my state should not become something it is not. It is God's own country. It should remain God's own country. It should be a state for peace-loving people to be able to live without the fear of being hacked on the streets of Palakkad or Trichur. This is a legitimate conversation that needs to be had. And it cannot be brushed away with all these metaphors of, you are insulting Kerala or you are insulting the government.
But Minister, is this restricted? Okay, but Minister, is this restricted only to Kerala? The PFI also stands accused of causing disharmony or creating disharmony in Uttar Pradesh. The UP government, Yogi Adityanath's government, incidentally, you know better, wanted it banned. There was also an investigation in Karnataka. There are investigations in other states. But overall, sir, what action is being taken by the Narendra Modi government, by the central government, if the threat is not restricted just to Kerala?
No, look, Gaurav, what the union government has to do, it will do. Our record on terrorism, our record on doing what the law permits us to do is out there for everybody to ascertain, discuss, dissect and comment on. But this is not about what the union government will do with that particular organization. This is a question that is being posed directly at a state government about why are these killings happening? Why is it so brazen? Why is it so open, as if people who are conducting these killing fields, who are running these killing fields, don't care about any consequences? It can only lend credence to a perception, build further or strengthen the perception that somehow these elements think Kerala is providing them safe haven, or within the political establishment in Kerala are providing them safe haven. And that cannot do, because remember one thing, this is not an issue for Kerala. Kerala is in the Union of India, and if there are terror elements or radical elements in Kerala, it impacts Tamil Nadu, it impacts Karnataka, it impacts Maharashtra, it impacts indeed the whole of the country. And so to stop having a conversation on this by saying no, you are slamming Kerala is just utter. We have to be able to engage the state government and hold them accountable for these killings.
Okay. But in Kerala, it is being alleged that these are political killings. Information that filters out of the state, investigations that are being carried out seem to indicate that these are political killings. They're happening on all sides. It's a political issue and not a radical Islamist terror or an issue of radicalism, Minister.
Gaurav, how do they know this? Do they have a hotline to these elements? Do they call them up and say, on what ground did you kill them? Today it is a political killing, tomorrow it's a terrorist killing. Do they have a calendar that they have duly agreed with these organizations that on certain day there will be a political killing, on certain day it will be a terror and radical killing? How are they saying these things? What kind of a communication channel do they have with these people who conduct these crimes, where they are prima facie, without any evidence of any investigation, coming to a conclusion saying this is a political killing? And oh, by the way, if it is a political killing, it is okay. What does that mean? I don't understand this conversation.
No, but the point being that are these political killings in the sense that RSS workers are being targeted? They say, Hanan Mola a couple of days ago was saying that there are political workers of the left being targeted by the right. Or is this a national security issue? An issue of radical Islamist terror is to be dealt with completely on a different scale and footing, sir, if it is one.
How absurd is this? Just think about it, Gaurav. Just step back and think about how these clean chits are being given in the absence of any evidence that has been laid out by the police, anybody arrested, anybody investigated. They give a clean chit to two people that have been brutally hacked as victims of a political killing, and therefore not requiring any investigation further, not requiring any conversation about radical elements that have entered into Kerala. I mean, you and I know there have been cells in Kerala, there have been conversations and discussions about certain IS type cells in Kerala. There is a history of this, and if on the back of that evidence and history somebody asks a question about radical elements, the answer can't just simply be oh no, this is a political killing, so forget it, let the person die. We will not investigate it, we will not prosecute anybody.
In fact, evidence seems to indicate that the Sri Lanka police sought information about activities that were happening in Kerala after the terror attack that took place in Sri Lanka. But, sir, at this point of time, given the evidence that's in public domain as of now, what are your expectations of the Pinarayi Vijayan government?
I want the Pinarayi Vijayan government to realize that they are to wake up to their constitutional responsibility to provide safety to every Malayali. This is their job to do, this is their duty to do, number one. Number two, there is clearly, given all of what is happening in our neighborhood, there is clearly the threat of these radical elements infiltrating into our country, infiltrating and creating cells. There is enough empirical and other evidence that Kerala has had some experience or some activities like this happening in the past. Things must be deterred by robust policing, robust prosecution, and every one of these criminals, regardless of whether they are hiding behind some political camouflage or hiding under the support and sort of cover of some political establishment or parties, must be brought to justice. We cannot sweep this under the carpet by saying that these are political killings and therefore there is no terror threat. Okay. There are no radical elements in Kerala. This is just not acceptable for any government that follows the rule of law, is aware of what is going on in our neighborhood, and is duty bound to ensure that India remains secure against these terrorist radical elements that are, by the way, everybody commonsensically knows are trying to infiltrate into India and destabilize India.
Okay. Minister, for the moment, many thanks for joining me here on India Today. We'll be tracking that story very closely to see what action is being taken by the state government and at a national level, because there are complaints that there is a threat, clear and present danger, as you said, even in Uttar Pradesh, in Karnataka and other parts of the country at the national level. I now want to shift focus to the other big story we're tracking here on India Today. The Indian Navy's latest acquisition, INS Vela, the fourth Kalvari-class submarine, part of Project 75, manufactured at the Mazagaon Docks Limited. Now, with its 39 anti-ship missiles and 6 torpedo tubes, this submarine is fast at 22 knots, silent and lethal. Lurking underwater, this submarine also boasts of advanced mine-laying capabilities. We get you much more on this diesel-electric submarine with advanced stealth and combat capabilities in this India Today special report.
Swift, silent, stealthy, striking, and super deadly. Meet the newest keeper of India's seas, Submarine Vela. The fourth in the line of the Kalvari or Scorpion class of submarine. After the recently inducted destroyer INS Vishakhapatnam, another major milestone in India's combat platform modernization.
Any submarine which joins the Indian Navy, or for that matter any fighting force, It's a great addition to the teeth of combat capability. It's a very potent weapon which is getting added to the Navy.
This diesel-electric submarine was built under Project 75 by India's Mazagon Dock Shipbuilders Limited in Mumbai, rapidly boosting India's maritime capacity and firepower. This submarine will enhance the Indian Navy's silent service to nullify threats above water and under it, and underscoring India in an elite group of nations with a submarine making capability.
ये बहुत ही लेस जो नॉइस प्रोड्यूस करती है, जिसके कारण रेडिएटेड नॉइस बहुत कम रहता है, तो दुश्मन का जो सोनार है इसको ट्रैक करने में सफल रहेगा। इस सबमरीन को इस हिसाब से डिज़ाइन किया गया है कि दुश्मन को घात लगा के छुप के मारा जा सके, डुबाया जा सके, और ये काम ये सबमरीन बहुत अच्छे तरीके से करेगी।
221 feet in length and tipping the scales at 1,565 tons, INS Vela is made of a special high-tensile steel which enables its swift operations at the lowest depths of the sea it's capable of sailing in. The submarine can stay underwater for 50 days at a stretch undetected, owing to its stealthy sonar-evading capabilities. Powered by 360 super-efficient battery cells and a massive 1250 kilowatt diesel engine, it can dive up to 350 meters under sea level and attain a speed of 22 knots. INS Vela justifies its nickname of Silent Killer with some of the deadliest naval weaponry. SM-39 Exocet anti-ship missiles, 6 torpedo tubes, and advanced naval mine-laying capabilities make Vela one of the deadliest underwater and on the surface. The advanced onboard communication system helps INS Vela to speak to other warships and perfectly execute intelligence-gathering missions.
इस सबमरीन में नेविगेशन से रिलेटेड काफ़ी एडवांस सेंसर्स हैं, एडवांस जीपीएस, एडवांस एक्डेस, एडवांस नेविगेशन सेंसर सिस्टम्स वो यहाँ पे फिटेड है, और उससे क्या हो जाता है कि एक तो हमारा काम आसान हो जाता है, ऑपरेट करना आसान हो जाता है, और उससे हम जो हमारा सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट काम है कि वेपन डिलीवरी, जो हमारे वेपन्स को डिलीवर करना, वो हम आसानी से कर पाते हैं।
The pride of Indian sea warriors has successfully conducted 2 years of extensive sea trials, and it becomes the 4th of 6 Scorpion submarines to join the Indian Navy.
INS Vela is the most efficient and most powerful machine which India has right now. It will play the most important role in the war zone, and now in some days INS Vela will be commissioned and will be protecting the country soon. With cameraman Mandar, Paras Dama, India Today.
And coming up on India Today, is there a blanket ban on cryptocurrency on the cards? Details coming up on Business Today with Abha Bakaya.